Hello everyone, Asmo here, and today I have for you 15 farming strategies that will help you make a lot of currency in Path of Exile. For every strategy, I'm going to give you what you need in terms of the Scarabs, fragments and any other required materials. I'm going to give you the Atlas tree for every strategy that utilizes it. I'm going to recommend a build that can be good at farming it, explain how to actually run the strategy, and most importantly, tell you what you're going to be selling to make your currency. A lot of these strategies are pretty easy, so no matter what build you're playing, I guarantee that you will find something from this list that you can farm effectively. The strategies are in no particular order, some will be harder, some will be easier, and all of the Atlas trees shown in this video can be found in the description. The first strategy is the invitation farming with destructive play. In this strategy you will kill the map bosses of either regular maps, guardian maps or pinnacle bosses in order to farm Maven invitations. Use this Atlas tree, pick the boss drop notables for Synth, Guardian and Conqueror maps, the destructive play keystone and a lot of map sustain. You can also use shrines and Nico to run the maps faster. You do not need any Scarabs for this farm, and from the map device you just pick the quantity. The best build for this strategy is going to be something with high single target damage and a lot of movement speed, or a fast spammable mobility skill such as the Reap Miner. The way you run this is in 3 stages. You can run the strategy starting with the first stage and progress through them yourself, because you'll be always farming the maps and fragments needed for the next step. Stage 1, the easiest, is to pick any tier 14 plus maps and run them with the Maven Witness, killing everything on your way to the boss. It's generally best to go straight to the boss and run as many invitations as you can, but the more monsters you clear in the map, the more bosses Maven will summon, so do kill everything on your way. Linear maps like Strand are very good for this. After 10 map bosses witnessed by Maven, run the Maven invitation. I like rolling it with Scours and Binding Orbs until at least 60% quantity, which is high enough for good rewards but still lets me control what mods I'm running. Repeat this rotation as many times as you want, and after you farm or buy enough Guardian and Conqueror maps, you can do the stage 2, the Guardian invitations. You will need either Elder Guardian maps, Shaper Guardian maps, Conqueror maps or Synthesis maps. You can farm them all yourself using the first stage of this strategy, or you can buy them from other players. You can also use the Primal Rex Matriarch to farm Synthesis maps yourself. The beasts are usually much cheaper than the synth maps that they give. You can Horizon Orb the Guardian and Conqueror maps into the ones that you're missing, run a full set and then run the invitations. You can do that rotation as many times as you want. The stage 3 is to run the Feared. After farming Guardian maps, you're going to have a lot of Elder fragments, Shaper fragments and Cortex maps from your running your Synthesis maps. That's already 60% of what you need for the Feared invitation. You can then buy Uber Atsiri fragments and Chayula Breachstones from the trade exchange and run Feared rotations, or sell the full Feared sets to other players. The profits in this strategy come from selling the following items. You'll be getting boss fragments, Maven's Writs, Maven Chisels, Awakened Gems, Orbs of Conflict, Conqueror Exalts, influenced items, and maps, which include Guardian maps, Synth maps, Conqueror maps, T17, 16.5 and regular T16 maps. Legion Dunes. In this strategy you will focus on farming maps optimized for the Legion mechanic, which fills your maps with rare monsters that have guaranteed and consistent loot rewards. Use this tree. You can either use the red altars or blue altars, and you can choose to run the Delirium Mirror nodes, or if that's too hard for your character, you can swap them for shrines and Nico instead to make the maps a little bit easier. For Scarabs you want to run 1 Legion Scarab of Officers, 3 regular Legion Scarabs, and the last one is a flex spot that can be Cartography Scarab of Escalation or anything else you like. From the map device you want to select Legion, and the best build for Legion will have big coverage through AoE, projectiles or proliferation. Things like bow builds, Exsanguinate with chain, or ignite proliferation with explode. You want to run maps with an open layout, a large area, and ideally a predictable boss location such as dunes. Run maps with as much quantity as you can, and if your build can handle it, run 8 mod corrupted maps for even more loot. You want to rush to the boss and kill it first, so that the remaining altars spawning in your maps will be more likely to grant the quantity and rarity options that will buff the loot from the Legion rares. If you are running the Delirium Mirror, I recommend cancelling the Delirium after 6 rewards, which is usually the maximum you're going to get anyway. Headhunter and Inspired Learning are very good for farming Legion because of the abundance of rare monsters that you'll be constantly killing. And you should also constantly use incubators. I recommend filtering out all of the incubators except for the currency, div card, and early on the 6-link incubators. You should run them all yourself. Just put 10 incubators of the same type at a time on your gear so that they all pop at the same time. The profit in this strategy comes from selling the following items: raw currency, divine scales and other bubblegum currency that you'll sell in bulk, stacked decks that also can be sold in bulk, emblems which can be sold in full sets in bulk to 5-way Legion runners, and T16, T16.5 and T17 maps. That will be the majority of your profits, but you'll also make some money on fossils, uniques, fracture items and Atziri fragments. Low tier masters. This strategy is one of the easiest in terms of the character requirements, because instead of using your character power, you will have to use your brain power by interacting with 3 complex league mechanics. Use this tree to guarantee Alva, Einhar and June spawn in your maps. You should use 2 bestiary scarabs of the herd and 1 betrayal scarab of reinforcements. They're both very cheap. Pick Quant from the map device, and the good news is that any build can run this strategy, but the more movement speed you have, the better. This strategy combines 3 separate mechanics, all of which can be done in white tier 1 maps. Ideally, you want to pick something linear like Strand. Let's talk about the mechanics individually. First, Einhar. You want to kill all yellow beasts and the good red beasts that are worth selling. Learn to recognize them and try to skip killing all of the unsellable red beasts. The good beasts to look out for are the Krychik Chimeral, Phenomenal Plague Arachnid, Farek Lynx Alpha and Farek Wolf Alpha. Yellow beasts, the ones without the 3D pictures, can also be sold in bulk, and at the time of making this video they go for 1 divine per 35 yellow beasts on the official bulk item exchange. The second mechanic you will run is Alva. You want to build temples with Locus of Corruption and Doriani's Institute. These rooms are for double corrupting items and gems respectively. You can make some money on other rooms as well, but those are the 2 most valuable rooms, and itemized temples with them will always sell easily. Whenever you encounter Alva, if she offers you the option to change the room into one of these 2, you take it. Otherwise, upgrade the room to the higher tier. If you swap a room to the good one and you still have more Alva encounters in the same map, do not enter them, because you will not be offered the same room twice, which means you will not be able to upgrade it. Instead, talk to Alva in the next map where she can offer you to upgrade that room. The third strategy is Betrayal. It's a complicated mechanic, but it grants a lot of experience and currency, so it's definitely worth learning. In the description you will find a 326 Betrayal cheat sheet that shows which rewards you can get from the Syndicate safe houses for each member. Your goal is to put Gravicious and Rin in transportation, 2 Scarab guys that you want in intervention, and then 5 members in each of the other 2 safe houses. Whenever given an opportunity, you should build trust and then rivalry between the members of the 2 people safe houses and the members of the 5 people safe houses, and nowhere else. Then whenever an extra member from other safe house shows up in your transportation or intervention encounters, use them to get the intelligence for these safe houses and keep running them for rewards. That's the basic explanation. If you want to learn more about this mechanic, I will link some guides in the description as well. The profit in this strategy comes from selling valuable red beasts, yellow beasts in bulk, itemized temples with Locus of Corruption and Doriani's Institute, Scarabs, Alflames, Maven Chisels and Scouting Reports, which you can also choose to keep for the Kirac Beast Farming strategy. The next strategy is the Kingsmarch Resource Farm. In this strategy you focus on farming maps for the resources used by your Kingsmarch town. Use this tree to maximize the amount of Kingsmarch resources that you get per map. For Scarabs you want to use 2 Kalguran Scarabs, 1 Sulfite Scarab, 1 Kalguran Scarab of Refinement and 1 Harvest Scarab of Doubling. If the Refinement and Doubling Scarabs are too expensive, you can also replace them with 2 Torment Scarabs or Torment Scarabs of Possession. On the map device you want to pick the Settlers option. The best build for this strategy will have a lot of rarity to scale the amount of gold you're getting and get more rare and unique items, which will help you get more dust from disenchanting items as well as converting items to dust through the Refiner's Bargain Keystone. You also want to be able to kill the Black Knight and fully channeled Verissimors. You want to run as much quantity and pack size on your maps as you can, and a great map to run would be an 8 mod corrupted Jungle Valley, which is perfect for taking advantage of the blue altars which you want to spawn for more quantity. You want to kill all the neutral monsters to spawn the altars, click all of the sulfite nodes, which will give you a ton of resources, and secure all of the Kalguran ore. You'll have a small chance to also spawn a Starfall crater in your maps with the Black Knight boss, which can drop Svalin, a very expensive shield, but that is a very rare find. After clearing the map, you want to do harvest to get the crops and simply focus on plots that have the most monsters of the highest tiers, and the colors don't matter. Besides the natural drops that you'll find, you are farming the Kalguran ore, smelted bars, thaumaturgic dust, crops and gold, and then using all of those resources for the shipments in Kingsmarch, and occasionally you can also find the Svalin shield. 8 mod map farming. In this strategy you will farm maps to get more maps, with a focus on specifically targeting 8 mod corrupted maps. Use this tree to maximize your map drops. For Scarabs you want to use 3 cartography Scarabs of Multitude, 1 cartography Scarab of Corruption, and 1 cartography Scarab of Escalation. From the map device, the best option is to actually pick Blight, because the loot explosion at the end has a potential to drop the most maps. The stronger your build is, the more map mods you can do, the better, because this farm is best in difficult T16.5 maps with many modifiers. You can run this strategy in any map, but you get best results if you favorite a popular meta map and then run a map that is connected to it, ideally a T16.5 with as big of a more maps modifier as you can. For reference, I ran a map with over 200% more maps, and then I dropped 65 T16s, 2 16.5s and 4 T17 maps in just that one map. To do the Blight easier, I recommend anointing your ring with 1 silver and 1 opalescent oil for the freeze enchant and using it to crowd control the monsters during Blight. You're going to be selling T16, T16.5 and T17 maps. You can sell them in bulk on the Forbidden Trove Discord, and you can charge more if people want to use a regex to filter out maps that are good for their build. The more maps you have, the easier it will be to sell them. You can also use the bad layout maps for your Kingsmarch mappers. Harbinger Beyond. In this strategy you focus on farming Harbingers for their valuable currency shards and spawn a lot of Beyond monsters for additional loot. Use this tree that contains all Beyond and Harbinger nodes that we need. You can choose to farm either red or blue altars, and you can choose to focus on extra currency or extra div card drops from Beyond. For Scarabs, run 1 Harbinger Scarab of Warhords, 1 Harbinger Scarab of Regency and 3 regular Harbinger Scarabs. And from map device you want to pick Harbinger. The optimal build for this strategy will be a build with good AoE coverage that ignores proxy shields such as any damage over time proliferation or toxic rain. You also want either a good amount of spell block or spell suppression with recovery on block or spell suppression. The strategy is very simple because Harbingers do not scale with our map modifiers such as quantity, rarity or pack size. You simply want to kill as many of them as quickly as you can. You can run any T16 map with a good divination card, preferably an open layout, which will allow you to fight multiple Harbingers at the same time. Go into the map, rush the Harbingers, click the altars on the way for extra rewards, and leave the map after killing all of the Harbingers. You will be selling mostly raw currency that can be easily liquidated, so currency from the Harbinger shards, other bubblegum currency that you'll drop, tainted currency from Beyond, and any extra div cards and scarab drops. The white T16, Essence, Betrayal and Heist. In this strategy we run scoured T16 maps to quickly get a lot of essences, betrayal safe houses and heist materials for a big profit with very small investment. Run this passive tree to guarantee June in your maps, maximize your essences and spawn smugglers caches. Dance of Destruction Keystone can speed up your maps, but you can opt out of it if you're dying in your maps. You want to use 1 Betrayal Scarab of Reinforcements, 1 Essence Scarab of Ascent, 1 Essence Scarab of Stability and 2 regular Essence Scarabs. Select Essence from your map device, and the best build to run for this strategy will have high single target damage and ability to freeze, for example Ice Trap or Penance Brand or Arcanist Brand Soul Rest. You want to run white, scoured, no quality, atoll maps. You don't care about natural drops with this strategy, you simply want to kill the essences, do the betrayal encounters and the essence filled boss as quickly and easily as possible. Make sure to use remnants of corruption on the purple essences, which is Misery, Envy, Dread and Scorn, for a chance at upgrading them to the expensive special essence types. Farming this strategy, you're going to be selling essences in bulk, blueprints and deception contracts, the betrayal loot, which will depend on your syndicate strategy, and for that I recommend farming Rin and Gravicious in transportation and 2 good Scarab members in intervention, with the remaining 10 members in fortification and research. You can consult the cheat sheet linked in the description for the betrayal rewards and pick whatever is currently valuable. And you can also run the syndicate medallion yourself, or you can sell it. Kirac Beast Missions. In this strategy you will use Kirac missions to farm valuable beasts that cannot be found anywhere else in the game. You do not need an Atlas tree, Scarabs or a map device craft for this strategy, but what you will need instead are a red tier Kirac missions and scouting reports. You will likely farm these doing other strategies, but even if you have no Kirac missions available, you can get them by buying the Primal Cyst Collar Beast and killing it in the Menagerie, which will grant you 5 Kirac missions. You can reroll the missions by spending the scouting reports, or if you have a lot of red Kirac missions and you just want to spend them, you can simply open any random mission and not complete it. Kirac will immediately refresh his options and his shop, which you can look at again. You're looking for maps with the enchant area contains capturable harvest beasts. You can also find Untainted Paradise map, which grants a lot of experience, and Conquer maps that can drop expensive exalted orbs. I recommend running those 2 as well. Any build capable of comfortably killing red beasts in T16 maps will work well for this strategy. There are 9 harvest beasts in total, and you should learn to recognize the valuable ones so that you can skip over the red beasts that are not worth capturing. You can open your bestiary while in the map, type something in the search bar to clear the page, and all newly captured beasts in this map will show up, allowing you to keep track of what you're capturing and learn how they look like. After killing all of the red beasts, you can leave the map immediately. You will be selling all of the valuable beasts. You can check the prices on PoE Ninja or on the trade websites and later use the bestiary orb to extract and sell your beasts. You can also use some of the beasts yourself to make an even bigger profit. Blight Ravaged maps. In this strategy you're going to farm only the Blight Ravaged maps for a huge variety of loot that can be sold or used to make even more profit. You do not need an Atlas tree or even an Atlas for this strategy, as the Blight Ravaged maps are outside of it. That's why you can do this strategy at any point, even before completing your Atlas. You want to use 4 sacrifice fragments plus another 1 cheap fragment for extra quantity, and you want to select the quantity from the map device. The best build for this strategy will scale its damage from the corpse life, so things like Detonate Dead or Cremation of Exhuming. You also need to be able to deal with proxy shields, so you want some form of proliferation and explode, and a Poison Cremation Pathfinder with Asana Statch can do these Blight Ravaged maps that are area level 85 at level 67 straight after the campaign. Importantly, you also need the Freeze Ring Anoint, which costs 1 silver and 1 opalescent oil, and the second ring enchant can be whatever you want. For example, Empowering Tower Range or Meteor Tower Burning Ground, which are both good choices. You want to chisel your maps and roll as much quantity as you can while still being able to do the map. Avoid modifiers that prevent monsters from being slowed, frozen or stunned. If you want to make the maps easier, you can use the clear, sepia and amber oils on the map, and if you want to get more loot, use the violet, red and black oil as a low budget option, and to maximize your loot you want to use 3 silver, 3 black and 3 opalescent oils. If the golden oil is less than half a divine, you should use golden oils instead of the black, but if the golden oil costs around a divine or more, then stick to using the black oil instead. If your build is already very strong and you want to maximize your currency per hour, then the best combo is going to be 3 teal oils, 3 silver oils, and then 2 black and 1 opalescent. During the encounter you want to use the chilling and stunning towers to block the path of the monsters. Make an extra glacial cage close to the pump to catch anything that passes through, and buff your towers with the green empowering towers, and if all roads are properly blocked, then you can start adding a mix of damage towers to help you with the DPS. A caster mastery for opening chests can also be very helpful for looting the maps quicker. You will be selling a very large variety of items. Here are the items that will make you the most money. Item level 85 and 86 bases, which can be sold individually or in bulk. They will be a huge part of your profits early on in the league. Item level 85 plus flasks and tinctures, which which can be easily crafted later in bulk to make even more currency. You'll be also selling oils, raw currency, sacrifice fragments, scarabs, item level 85 abyss jewels, maps, and you will find all natural atlas maps, allowing you to easily complete your full atlas just from the maps that you find in the Blight Ravaged maps. You will also be selling stack decks, and occasionally you will find a good fractured, synthesized or unique item. Menagerie Farming. In this strategy, you will turn cheap beasts that are part of valuable recipes into finished product that can be often sold for more than double of your initial investments. You do not need an atlas tree, scarabs or a map device for this strategy. Any build that can kill T16 red beasts without dying will be good for this. Just make sure that you have a good amount of chaos resistance. The step 1 is to check prices of some commonly valuable bestiary reward items that you can go to PoE Ninja and find there. And in the unique section, try to look for Sakawol, Farol or Chrysian and Fedemus items. If the base version of any of these items is expensive, then it can be farmed for nice profit. Next, go to the beast section and search for the corresponding beasts. Find the beast required to open the boss portal and the boss beast required for crafting the aspect. The difference in their price is a guaranteed profit, because every time you fight the boss using the cheap beast portal, you will get a guaranteed boss beast that can be sold, plus a random unique corresponding to that boss. You can farm a bunch of these uniques and then corrupt the cheaper ones for a chance at valuable implicits that will be very rare to find and thus valuable to some players. You can also do this with Primal Rex Matriarch, which grants a synthesis maps, but the beast is often half the price of the synthesis map cost, allowing you to farm these synthesis maps and then run them in an invitation rotation or sell them in bulk. Boss rushing with red and blue altars. In this strategy, you will skip everything in the map and rush as fast as you can to the end boss in order to quickly farm the Searing Exarch and Eater of Worlds invitations. Use this tree to maximize your maps and other boss drops, and use the Searing Exarch wheel if you want to farm the red invitations, and the Eater of Worlds wheel if you want to farm the blue invitations, depending on which one is more expensive. You do not need any scarabs for this strategy, and from the map device simply select the quantity. The best build for this strategy will have a very high movement speed or a very fast spammable mobility skill to get through the map as quickly as possible. You want to set up 2 adjacent maps that have predictable boss locations, such as Mesa and Park, Dunes and Defiled Cathedral, or City Square and Shore. Favorite your 2 chosen maps. You don't have to roll them because we don't care about the generic drops, and there are 2 ways to run this strategy. The first one, if the invitations are more expensive, you want to enter the map, spawn the influence, making a pack of influenced monsters appear, and as soon as that happens, leave the map and go into the next. Keep doing that until you're about to get the invitation, and then kill the boss in the last map of the sequence to get said invitation, and repeat the process. The second way to run this strategy is to actually rush toward and kill the boss in every map, which will allow you to sustain your maps much easier, get a lot of valuable map drops from the boss, and check on the way for an improved labyrinth trial, which we're speccing for on our Atlas tree. The improved labyrinth trial is easily recognizable and will reward you with an expensive lab key that can be worth as much as the invitation you're farming. You'll be selling the Searing Exarch or Eater of Worlds invitations, maps which will include Guardian, T17 synthesis maps, Conqueror maps and so on, and dedication, gift or tribute to the goddess fragments. Crop rotation harvest. In this strategy, we invest heavily into scaling the most valuable life force, which can be sold in bulk in seconds. Use this passive tree setup if you want to farm the yellow life force, and keep in mind that you don't need the Sacred Grove spawn chance if you're using the imbued harvest in this strategy, so you can swap these passives for something else. You want to use 1 Horned Scarab of Awakening, 1 Harvest Scarab of Doubling, 1 Influenced Scarab of the Hoards, and 2 Scarabs of Monstrous Lineage. The Horned Scarab of Awakening lets us use the imbued harvest craft, and we pair it with the blue altars. Strong build that can run a lot of map modes is recommended. You want to be tanky and deal a lot of damage, but you do not need to be fast. I recommend running a map that guarantees no boss altars such as Jungle Valley with as much quantity and pack size as you can run. Clear the map first, triggering as many altars as you can, and only click on the quantity altars. Skip altars that do not give you quantity or divine orbs to avoid adding unnecessary difficulty to your harvest. Then clear the harvest plots of the colors that you do not want, typically blue or purple first, whichever you see the most of, and then use them to buff the desired plots, typically yellow, that you will farm last. In this strategy you sell primarily the harvest life force, which sells extremely quickly on the trade exchange, and then either sell or run your own sacred blossoms that you find from bosses. Big Boom Expedition. In this strategy you scale the expedition encounters to be very challenging but also very rewarding, and focus solely on farming this one league mechanic. Use this tree for maximum map effect and all of the useful expedition nodes for this strategy. You want to use 2 expedition scarabs of rune finding, 1 expedition scarab of Verisium powder, 1 expedition scarab of archaeology, and 1 scarab of monstrous lineage. From the map device you can select extra quantity or shrines and pick the blue altars. It is very important that your build has some kind of explode and proliferation. Chaos.occultist with explode, poison proliferation with Asena's gentle touch, or ignite plus explode. This will make the difference between clearing almost the whole expedition in a couple seconds versus struggling with an incredibly buffed pack of monsters for a very long time. Pick a map with an open layout and with either no boss altars or with easily accessible boss that you can rush to, such as Jungle Valley, Dunes or City Square. Kill the boss and clear the map to find the altars for extra quantity, and then clear the expedition, making sure to avoid immunities that would stop you from being able to deal damage. After farming this strategy, you will be selling logbooks, expedition currency, raw currency, stacked decks, and essences. I recommend using Danig and Tujen, which are both a big part of your profits. Interacting with Tujen and using the expedition currency there will give you a lot of very valuable loot. Abyss Hoards. In this strategy, you farm the Abyss Hoards, which are affected by your map modifiers to quantity of maps, scarabs, and currency. Use this tree and modify the block nodes as well as scarab nodes to disable the cheapest scarabs from dropping and boost the most expensive ones. You want to use 1 Abyss Scarab of Edifice, 1 Cartography Scarab of Escalation, 1 Cartography Scarab of Corruption, and either 2 regular Abyss Scarabs, or if your build can handle it, 2 Cartography Scarabs of Risk. Then you want to select Abyss from the map device and use blue altars for extra quantity. The best build for this strategy will have access to the Caster Mastery that grants 25% chance to open nearby chests when casting a spell. Any self-casting build that casts a lot will make this strategy much more comfortable to run. This strategy works best in the tier 16.5 and tier 17 maps with high scarab, currency or map drop modifiers. And you will be selling maps including 8 mod corrupted maps, raw currency including Valdos boxes and reliquary keys, 6 mod abyss jewels, Stygian vices in bulk, and scarabs in bulk. Strongboxes. In this strategy you use the strongboxes and their modifiers to further scale the loot given by monsters and gain extra loot from the strongboxes themselves. Use this tree for maximum effect of map modifiers and strongboxes, and feel free to customize your scarab drop preferences and either Eater of Worlds or Searing Exarch altar nodes. For scarabs, you should use 1 scarab of hidden compartments, 1 ambush scarab of discernment, and 3 regular ambush scarabs. Use ambush on the map device as well as your preferred altar type. This strategy can be run by any build, but you want to make sure that you're 100% immune to freeze. Builds that can preload their damage before opening the boxes will perform very well. You want to run the highest maps you can, so either T16, 16.5 or T17 with high quantity and if possible more scarab and more currency drop modifiers. You should be running the tamper-proof notable, which means all strong boxes will be already rare and corrupted, so there is no need for rolling them. Simply open them as many times as you can, kill all of the monsters and get the loot. And you will be selling mostly raw currency, divination cards and scarabs. You will find all of the atlas trees in the description, and if you learned something from this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.